Hi, welcome back. If you are new around here, my name is Sharon and you've currently stumbled on my new series on values. This is my third video in the series and it's all about spotting your values in everyday life. But before we start and get into the video, I just want to mention about the elephant in the room because I can see it on camera. It is what I'm calling my Nanny McPhee growth. It's actually not very old. It started out as literally like a tiny little mole, and week on week it's really grown. I've already been to the hospital once where they've taken measurements and photographs, and I've been put on a waiting list to wait to have it removed. And this will be happening on Friday the 13th, which originally I freaked out about, but the next available appointment wouldn't have been till May, and I don't want to leave it that long. I have some really good friends that are good witches and said, oh my God, it is the most favourable time of the year and it's to give me good luck. So I'm going to run with that theory. And although another patient said to me he believes it's Red Nose Day, so it was also quite a comical day. If you have ever experienced anything like this, I mean, I have seen many growths in my job, but one thing I have noticed is that there's no two the same. And so if I try to compare it to others, it's not a good thing to do. I suppose is if it was in my hairline or somewhere a little bit more discreet, it wouldn't be so uncomfortable, rather than right on the protruding part of your face that everybody wants to comment on. So I thought I'd get that out of the way. But please do put some comments down below if you have had a growth either similar to this, or you've experienced the removal, or anything that you think might help me. Pop it below, I'd be really grateful. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So most of us, possibly you, just like myself, didn't actually realise what our values were, or even what our values are, when actually, without us even realising it, we're living them out every single day. So in this video this week, I want to show you how your values quietly creep up into your everyday life. Not in huge big decisions, but just in small ones. You'll be relieved to know it's not about adding another thing to work on in your everyday life, but it's about noticing what's already there, because your values are guiding you currently in your everyday life choices, whether you have names for them or not. Now you might be thinking, like I did, how do values show up in everyday life? What does she mean? Well, what I'd ask for you to do, which is what I did, was just to notice what drains you, what you quietly resent, and then what gives you ease and a sense of satisfaction. Pay good attention for when things feel off, and that's often that a value is being nudged. Values reveal themselves in small, ordinary choices. So notice how you spend your time, notice how you say yes and when you say no, but also, most importantly, where you feel satisfaction. So most importantly, where you feel relief and satisfaction of when you've made a decision. Now I'm going to give you a couple of really good examples, particularly one that's happened to me, well, both has happened to me this week. one in particular, and this is a really good example. So I may have mentioned before in previous videos the nature of my job, and I've been in my role for almost 20 years in domiciliary care, which is looking after people that want to remain in their own homes. And sometimes that could be palliative care, so end of life care, or sometimes it can be making someone or giving some people some support so they can continue to be independent at home. And those tasks can be, hugely varied according to each individual needs. Now, I had a conversation with my husband on Sunday, and I had said that I had spent the weekend revising my diary, and I'm now at that point where I'm at my sweet spot. I can't physically take on anybody else, and if I do, that will impinge on my quality of life, the ability to food shop, food prep, cook a meal, have a meal with the family, do some activities that I love to enjoy, go to the gym, work out, meet friends, go to see my family that are many, many miles away. If I take on any more, all of that will start to become difficult and challenging, and I will go to the bottom of the pile. And I have done that for many, many years, and I've been working really hard over the last year to ensure that doesn't happen. And so I had this conversation, I said it out loud, and it felt good. I was at ease with that decision. My values, I was aligned with my values. I goes to work the next day, Monday morning, and the third patient I walk into, I'm thrusted with the phone because she was on the phone, and she had said, "She's here, Sharon is here, she's going to be the answer to all your problems." And I literally was given the phone, and she mouthed to me what the intention of the call was. And basically what it meant was this poor lady was having real severe pain with her hip. She was undergoing x-rays, and it was going to be quite a long, prolonged period of deciding whether she needs a new hip and how she was going to manage, how she was going to get herself dressed to appointments, feed herself, look after herself. And my lady had really praised me and wanted me to help her. She wanted me to give her some payback to her friend that had helped her for many, many years in the past. So it was a situation where I didn't want to let my patient down. It was lovely that she recommended me and she gave me such a glowing report, but I'd already had this conversation the day before. And it was that unease feeling. It was listening to her concerns, listening to her issues, and wanting to help, feeling guilty to say no, and finding myself go on that yes, I'll make it happen. But what I ended up doing was make an appointment to see her face to face, really listen to what she needed and what her requirements were, finding out how long her needs possibly were going to take and how much time and out of my working week that she would need. And then I removed myself from the situation. I just said that I would need to review my schedule. I am really full, but I will look and see if there's any way I can move things around to accommodate her, but I would definitely get back to her. And then I came out of it. I came out of the situation, I came out of the guilt, I came out of the way of feeling like, how can I help this poor woman? And then I went back, and I had said that as much as I felt that we would get on so well, that the rapport was there, and I would indeed love to help, but there was just no way I would be able to implement her in my normal working day without it affecting others. But that I would highly recommend somebody else, which I often do and I have done, and that she does have availability, but she's like me, she very rarely gets any gaps, and that I would recommend that you contact her as soon as possible to do the same thing, to meet and go through her needs and requirements. And then the next stage happened, the disappointment. Oh, I felt that we had such a connection. I really would rather you support me. How about I make it worth your while and give you more hours and pay your petrol? And then her son did the same thing and contacted me, and it was so much pressure. I mean, at the end they said, if you really can't help, we totally understand. But when you are in a job that I am in, where quite often people's needs and health are so extreme, I mean, maybe you could argue the hip is not, but if it is so extreme, you kind of compare it to your life, and you kind of feel they're worse off. You feel guilty for wanting to do your everyday chores. So it's very easy to get caught up in it, but I find coming out and away from the situation and then going back somewhat easier. And then the pressure came on another layer, but I literally had that feeling where I know I would resent it if I took it on, because I wouldn't be able to be at home for my evening meal with the family or my husband. I would definitely have to cancel going to the gym with my good buddy that I go 3 times a week, which is my 1 hour of me time. I would probably end up going to bed late every night, which means I would be tired every morning, and I would be very resentful of that extra work. Don't get me wrong, I've had situations before. It's lovely to be recommended, it's lovely to be busy. I'm not complaining that I've got work. Please don't think it like that, but you can have extreme, and I have had extreme for a very, very, very long time, and you put yourself right at the bottom of the pile, and it's no good for your own health at the end of the day. So when I say notice what you say yes to and what you say no to, notice what you say yes and you resent, because that will go against your values. But when I done that, and when the to and fro stopped, and I stood my ground, the relief of not having to have that extra commitment was huge. I knew that I'd done the right thing. So pay attention to those moments. Pay attention to where it feels off, you're unsettled, and that's often a sign that you are nudging and fudging what's really important to you. When I felt that discomfort, you know, it's that moment of feeling guilt for sure, but when I started to feel elements of discomfort, I knew that if I said yes and rearranged my day, prolonged my day, that it's a sign that I'm shifting my values, that what's important to me. I've noticed recently that by stepping outside your comfort zone has felt really uncomfortable, but also deeply right. And that's often how values announce themselves. I want to share another small moment with you that took part this week, which really did take me out my comfort zone. But it's where I chose to act in line with my values, even though it was really uncomfortable. So, hi, we've bought our motorhome out for the first time this year, 2026, right at the very end of January. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of a cold night. As you can see, we've parked it just behind me here. We're in a pub hotel car park. We've managed to get right at the back, just spinning around. It's the first time we're filming outside, so bear with me. The venue is just here, and it's a fancy dress 40th birthday party for twins, our good friends from, oh my gosh, many years ago. What's exciting is they don't know we're here. We are going to surprise them as we've driven probably, I don't know, 100 miles or so to get here, and
it's, as I say, it's fancy dress, so we will be way out of our comfort zone tonight, dressing up, which I'm excited to share with you. I don't know what car they're driving, I don't really want to hang around for too long, but I just thought I'd show you where we are.
That moment wasn't about being brave, but it was about being aligned. And that's often what actually living your values looks like. You don't need to label your values just yet. Just get to notice where your energy goes. Get to notice what resists and where it softens. In next week's video, I want to help you identify your values. If this resonates with you, you're very welcome to stay with me for the rest of this series. No pressure.
This felt quite unfamiliar and actually slightly uncomfortable at first, but also weirdly right. As I live more in line with what truly matters to me, I'm seeking new experiences and slowly embracing new challenges, which is one of my values. And that's not to prove anything, but to feel more fully alive. And somewhere in that, I'm rediscovering my fun side. It's not dramatic, it just feels a little bit more like me. Or in this case, Cher.